Things that matter most must be at the mercy of things that matter least. Now, this is a quote by Goethe, and it has to do with time management, which is an important skill to have for personal management. Why? Well, this is what we're going to be discussing this morning. Hi, welcome to Live in 15 Minutes. This is live broadcast from Seattle, Washington. My name is Pia McAdams, and I am an author. I'm also an accounting professor and a certified life coach. I specialize in personal and small business finance and also fitness. I help people reach their goals. And how am I doing that? Well, by this live broadcast, for one, talking about transformation. So we are transforming myself in 5 minutes. We're doing 3 5-minute exercises, one for the mind, the body, and the soul. And for the mind, we're going to be having a stimulating conversation about the 7 habits of highly effective people. Now, this is a book written by Dr. Stephen Covey, and we've been talking about this book. As a matter of fact, we're going to wrap it up this week. So we are going to specifically be talking about habit number 3, which is put first things first. Okay, so habit 3 is put first things first. Now, the ability to manage your time is going to determine the quality and effectiveness of the second creation. Okay, let me say that again. The ability to have time management will determine the ability to be effective and the existence of the second creation. So what is the second creation, you ask? Well, that's what we talked about yesterday in habit number 2. And just to recap, that was putting first things first. That's habit. Putting first things first is 3. Number 2 is actually begin with the end in mind. So we talked about that, and I gave you the analogy of taking a road trip from California to South Dakota, but ending up in Georgia. And the reason why that happened was you didn't put first thing first. That too, but you didn't begin with the end in mind. And in other words, we didn't begin with our destination. We didn't research. And when we talked about that research portion is part of the mind creation, which is the first creation, which is part of the mind. Okay, so in other words, you got to think about what it is that you want to do. Well, in my example of the road trip, if you took the time to put the destination of South Dakota, whatever the address was, into the GPS or consult a map, it would have told you what exact road to take and, what highways and, any tolls and how long it's going to take you and all that. Okay, so that's the mental work. And then once you do that, now you start doing the things that's going to result in the second creation, which is the physical. Okay, so again, time management, as you can imagine, is essential because now you have all these things to do, and now you need to figure out how to do this. Otherwise, it's going to result in time crisis, right? So habit 3 then comes along and says, put first things first. Now, I want to give you an example and see if this scenario kind of sounds familiar to you. Okay, so you get up late, you're running late, and so you don't have time to eat, so you grab, a donut or maybe a muffin, and you make your way to work. So then when you get to work, you start working on your to-do list because you have a to-do list of things that you need to do that day. And then all of a sudden, shortly thereafter, your boss comes into the office and he has a stack of work for you to do. He says, I need you to complete this project by the end of the day. Okay, so you stop working on your to-do list and you start working on this project because, you need to have it done by the end of the day. So you didn't have time to really work, stop and take lunch. And so you just kind of went to the snack machine and just kind of grab you, a soda and whatever little snacks that you can find that seemed appealing to you at the moment into the snack machine. And then you come back to your desk and you continue working on that project. Well, finally, you get done with the project. So you hand it in to your boss and you're all happy and smiles. And then you go back to your office to get ready to work on your to-do list, only to find out that it's past the time, like it's time to leave. So then you get in your car and you drive home. Well, now you're mentally exhausted because of your whole day's activities and all the stress that was involved. So you only want to think about what it is, what to cook for dinner. So you stop by, a fast food joint and grab you something to eat, and then you make your way home. Now, once you get home, now you turn on the TV because you just need to relax. You just need some type of mindless activity, and TV seems relaxing to you. So you pop down in front of the TV and then you're eating your fast food if you didn't eat it on the way home. So you're eating your fast food and then all of a sudden you realize that you're tired and it's time to go to bed. So then you go to bed and then the same thing repeats again. The next day, the day after that, and the day after that. And guess what? The day after that. So that scenario kind of sounds familiar with you. You're kind of like in a daily routine. Well, as you can imagine, over time, what is that going to result? It's going to result in being overstressed, frustrated, and just unhappy. It's going to result in neglection of your health and also with your relationship, and not just relationship with others, but your relationship with yourself. Okay, so what we're talking about in habit number 3 is put first thing first. So it has everything to do with time management. So I want to introduce you to this chart that's going to actually explain the time management. And I have a surprise for you. Guess what? Look, I wrote backwards so that now you could actually see it. Know how before I hold up things in this backwards? Well, look, I've developed the skill to write backwards. So this is a quadrant, okay? And as you can see, there's 4 areas here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now at the top of the quadrant, these are things that are important. And then down here, of course, this is the unimportant. This is the urgent, and then this is the not urgent. Now, quadrant number 1, okay? So quadrant number 1, these are the things that have high importance and high urgencies. So these are the things that we call crises or emergencies. And why? Because spending too much time into this, like if you're doing something, spending too much time in this is going to result in having some type of crisis, right? So this is the area right here. Remember, high importance and high urgency. Now let's go down here. Now this one is urgent, but it's not important, okay? So right here, we're in this quadrant right here. This is urgent and not important. And this is the quadrant where it's urgent to other people, but it's not important to you. So in the example of the scenario I just talked about, your boss coming in to interrupt your day, like these are your interruptions. The boss coming in to interrupt your day with his high value or his high urgent item is infringing upon you. Okay, so this can be anything. Like this can be, your friends calling you with some kind of major crisis. They need to bend your ear, or your child has a report and they need your help. These are your interruptions of the day. This is where we spend the most part of our time right here in this quadrant number 3. All right, so let's move on to this one right here. Now, this is quadrant number 4. Now, these are things that are not urgent and not important. These are the things that will get you fired. Okay, so these are like the stressless, the mindless things that we do throughout the day, like surfing on social media like Facebook or Twitter, or watching TV. Okay, so these are the things that are not important and not urgent and not important. So we tend to spend time here as well. Now, moving up, we go here to quadrant number 2. Now, as you can see, these are things that are important, but not urgent. This is where we should be spending our time right here, okay? These are the things like, for instance, this is where we work on our relationships and our health, okay? Remember we talked about those mental creations? This is where it results right here in this quadrant, and this is where we should be spending most of our time. By spending the time in this quadrant right here, then it's going to reduce the time that you're spending here. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, okay, I get this, Pia. This all makes sense to me. But as you pointed out, I'm right here in quadrant number 3 where I'm dealing things that, other people's priorities. Where do I find the time? You just mentioned my scenario. Where do I find the time in order to get myself up to quadrant number 2 right up here? Well, guess what? I'm going to tell you. How you find the time is by reducing the time that you spend right here. Okay? This right here. Okay, so let me give you an example. So that scenario that I just talked about, okay, so let's revisit that scenario. Let's say that you set up an alarm clock to wake up a little early, to wake up on time or at least a little early. And in my scenario, let's wake up a little early because, I advocate getting things done early in the morning, okay? So you wake up a little early, you set your time clock, and then you go ahead and you go exercise, and then once you exercise, you're so energized that, you feel like having a nutritious breakfast, so then you eat your nutritious breakfast. Then you get ready to go to work, and then you have your to-do list. But guess what? Your to-do list is prioritized, and it's actually written on your calendar. So you know exactly what it is that you need to do, so that when those interruptions come in, you're able to say, either, I get it, I understand it. And then, because your list is prioritized, whatever is important to you, you're doing that first, and then you're going to work on that. Now, keep in mind that all of this has to do with the mental, right? So you're saying, well, Pia, I still have to stop what I'm doing in order to do what my bosses, told me to do. But keep in mind, because of the way that you're approaching all this, you're in a different mindset. So although you're still going to have those interruptions, they're not going to be as stressful because you're already calm, cool, and collected, because you've already prioritized your things. You're not just taking your to-do list like in the first scenario where I talked about that routine. Generally speaking, when we're doing a to-do list, we usually mark it off from top to bottom. There's no prioritization at all. There's not, just whatever we wrote down first is the thing that we do first, typically, right? Well, in this second scenario, in this revised scenario, we've already prioritized what we need to do. So we've already gotten up, we've taken care of our exercise, and we've also eaten a nutritious breakfast, which helps stimulate our mind, by the way. So then when we got to work, we got to work on time or maybe a little earlier, and now we're working on those top priority things, and we're doing that so that as we get interruptions, it's not going to be overly stressful. We now know how to prioritize that. So instead of just stopping immediately what you're doing to work on someone else's priority, you say, you know what, let me look at my list. This is where I can fit it in. Okay. And then you fit that in. So then you work on the project and then you get it done. And then you still have time to do the remaining things or not. But if not, it's not a big deal because it's in priority. You've already done the most important things first. You put first things first. All right. So then guess what? On the drive home, and by this time, on the drive home, you're just thinking about your day. You're thinking about gratitude, or you're not thinking about anything. You're just listening to the music and you're relaxing because all of this has to do with prioritizing your time, putting first thing first. And I should mention that the secret to this is that you've already pre-planned your week ahead of time. So you took time on Sunday to get all of this in motion. All right. So on the drive home, you already know what to cook because you've already done your planning. You already know what's going to be cooked in dinner. So you go home, you have a nice, enjoyable dinner. And guess what? You're not watching TV, or you're not watching as much TV. So instead of spending 3 and 4 or 5 hours in front of the TV screen, you may watch a favorite show that's maybe half an hour or maybe an hour. So in other words, to get the time that you need to move yourself in quadrant number 2, you have to reduce the time that you're spending here in quadrant number 3 and 4. And that's where you're going to get it. Is it going to take, is this going to be overnight? Absolutely not. Because remember, this is all about habits. Habit number 1, which is be proactive. Habit number 2, which is begin with the end in mind. Habit number 3, which is put first thing first. These are all character habits. These are all habits that's going to rely on your individual. You're working on your character, okay? So these are personal characteristics. And then once you develop those habits, then tomorrow when I introduce you to habits 4 through 7, or 4 through 7 for the remainder of this week, then you'll be able to put this into play. But first you have to work on yourself. And this time management is helping you to work on yourself. Now, I mentioned that in this time management quadrant, it's going to mean that you do things differently. Like, in other words, you got to have a to-do list in case you don't have one. But more importantly, to just having a to-do list, you need to learn how to prioritize what's on your to-do list. And then you need to write it down on a calendar and schedule. Now, before I move on, let me just kind of give you a quick example. And actually, before I give you an example, I want to mention this. I know what you're asking for. You're saying, I want to know the how. Like, how do you do all this? Remember, when we're talking about the mental creation, this is all about the what and the why, not about the how. We spend too much of our time already in the how. We spend too much time doing the not urgent, the high urgent, not important things, not important to us, because we're focusing on what to do. In that yesterday when we talked about our drive to South Dakota, we just got in the car and start going. We just start doing things. So remember, I'm not trying to advocate the how. I'm trying to advocate the principle, okay, the belief, the habits. And once you get that done, I promise you the how will come. The how is easy to us, it's second nature, because that's where our society brings us now, is the how. So I want you to think in mindset of the principle. So now let me give you another example. So I mentioned that I was here in Seattle. I actually visited my BFF, Nisi. It was her 50th birthday that we celebrated on Friday. Well, yesterday it was Sunday, right? So let me tell you what her routine was. Now, if you're not following my friend Nisi, her name is actually Denise Moore Johnson on Facebook. If you're not following her, I highly recommend that you do, because she advocates, again, the same thing that I do as far as personal development and making sure that, you get your life in order, the inside out approach. But, more importantly, what I witnessed yesterday is a phenomenal practice what you preach. Her Sunday consisted of this. First off, she went to the grocery store. Take that back. Before she went to the grocery store, she planned out her week. She planned out her meals for the week. Okay, so I'm talking about meals now. This is one scenario, one example. She took the time and wrote down what she was going to have day by day for breakfast, for snacks, for lunch. But remember, I said snacks, so it's 2 snacks: breakfast, the snacks, the lunch, and the dinner. She planned it out and put it in the calendar. She wrote it down. Like, on Monday, I'm having this for breakfast, this for my snack, this is for lunch, this is another snack, and then this is for dinner. She did that for Tuesday all the way for the rest of the week, Monday through Friday. Then she developed a grocery list, and then she went to the store and she grabbed the food. I didn't go to the store with her. I was asleep. I was tired from the weekend's activities. But anyway, she went to the store, and by the time she came back, I was awake, so I helped her bring in the groceries. You know, she's one of these people that when you come to her house, she makes you feel like a queen or a king if you're male, and so she doesn't have you do anything. So she's like, Pia, no, go sit down. I want you to, bring in my groceries. I was like, niece, let me just help. Let me do something. Remember, we always want to do something. She said, no, just sit down. Okay, so I sat down after I helped bring in some groceries, and then she proceeded to cook her meals. All the meals that she was going to have for the week. And guys, I'm trying to tell you, it was so efficient. Like, you think this was an all-day activity. In total, she spent the day doing it. But I swear to you, by the time she got back from the grocery store and started cooking her meals, and then she had the little containers where she was putting them out and actually doing it, she cooked, like, again, all those meals. So that's what, 3 meals a day for 5 days. She cooked them all in the span of maybe an hour, no more than an hour and a half that it took her to do all this, because she was so efficient how she do it. And by the way, the reason why I say follow her is because she talks about how she gets that efficient. Okay, so that's her specialty. It's like meal planning and being efficient. That's one of her specialties. So then she packaged it, in the little packages, and then put it in the refrigerator. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, after that, I was tired just because I'm thinking like, oh, okay, if I do this, okay, because I usually do some type of meal planning, but mine is a little different because my work day is totally, different. I work from home, so mine is different, but she gave me some great ideas on meal plans to, meal menus to have. And so then after that, I'm thinking, okay, usually speaking, I'm tired at that point. And so, I just want to go and relax. No, then she proceeds to cook me a dinner. And oh my God, like, she cooked the best shrimp I ever had, like, seriously, hand down. And I didn't even know it, but at the time that she was cooking her meals, she was asking me questions like, oh, Pia, do you like this? Or do you like potatoes? And I was like, yeah, I like potatoes. Or, oh, no, I don't like meatloaf, or this and that and the other. And I didn't realize what she was doing was that she was actually cooking a meal of my favorites. So we had shrimp, we had asparagus, we had the potatoes, and then we had vegetables of zucchini, and there was squash, and there was carrots. And guys, it didn't blink. Like, I didn't realize that while she was cooking her meals, she was so efficient that she also cooked a meal that we were going to have that day for Sunday. That's what I'm talking about with time management. Getting yourself to the point where you're working on the things that are important to you, but that are not urgent. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. Now, let me go ahead and put this up one more time. Yeah, you can see it. And plus, I'm like so excited that I was able to write backwards. So look at this right here. Okay. Now, to summarize all of this, guys, in order to live a balanced life, which is what we strive to do, and balance in all of our areas, particularly working on yourself from the inside out approach. But in order to live that balanced life, you have to learn that everything that comes along your way, you don't have to take advantage of. Learn to say no, and learn to focus on your priorities, and do that by putting first things first. Okay. Now, I mentioned that every time I introduced those habits, that I was going to give you a challenge. But before I give you the challenge, I just want to recap habits 1, 2, and 3 first, because these are going to be those foundational habits that you want to do first. And by the way, guys, please share this information, because this is information that is not only helpful to you, but also helpful to others. So share on this, meditate on it. And again, if what you're doing is working, continue doing it. But if you're looking for something different, I'm introducing you to something different. All right, so now on to the challenge for this week. And yesterday we had a different challenge. Give me a second. My voice is getting a little scratchy here. Okay, so for this challenge right here, we're going to start making your way here to quadrant number 2. And to do that, I want you to think of just one area in your life that you've been neglecting, that if you were to all of a sudden put your focus on, then it's going to make a big difference in your existence. Okay. So again, just think of one area in your life. It can be anything. It could be your health. It can be relationship. It could be your spirituality. It could be your emotional development, whatever it is. Just pick one area. Okay. And then think about what you can do. Like, write that down and think about what it is that you can do to start developing that area. Okay, I didn't say start working on it, guys. This is not about the high. This is the mental creation, because the mental creation precedes the physical creation. So this is about thinking. It's about principles. Remember, the blueprint always follows the plan. The blueprint always follows the plans, right? So you got to think about what it is. So the blueprints on the plans follows the actual creation of it. Okay, so that's your stimulating discussion this morning. So now let's go ahead and move on to the second portion where we're going to talk about the mind, or not talk about, we're going to actually do an activity, 5-minute yoga routine for the body, and then also we're going to move on to the meditation. All right, give me a second. I was looking for something. All right, so how are you guys doing this morning? This is kind of like strange for me because it's different. This is like not my environment. So I was okay, I make sure I do this and that and the other. I gotta take off my glasses. So good to see you guys this morning. I want to thank you for taking your time to watch this broadcast. For those of you that are on live, and also for those of you that are watching the recording, I really appreciate you. And I just want to kind of, for those of you that just kind of stumbled upon this broadcast, let me try to stay in the light here. I want you to understand that what we're doing this transformation, by working on just a little thing every single day, we're going to help elicit transformation, because I don't want you to think it has to be so overwhelming. Change in itself is hard. So whenever you embark upon change, you want to make sure that you approach it small steps at a time, okay? Whatever it is that you can handle from where you are at this moment, okay? Be patient with yourself, be non-judgmental, okay? Be kind, more importantly to yourself. And then once you're able to do that to yourself and instill that, you'll be able to do it for others. And guys, I don't care, like I will tell you hands on that I'm selfish, and you need to be. Everyone needs to be selfish, because you need to think about yourself first, because you can't give what you don't have. And how do you get what you need is by being selfish, and you put the focus on yourself. And it seems like, oh no, you shouldn't do that. Yes, you should. Just like we know that if you're in a plane and all of a sudden the cabin pressure drops, what it is that the stewardess tell you? You want to put your mask on first, even before you put on your child. Why? Because if you put it on your child and then you pass out, you're no use to that person anymore, that the person that's dependent upon you. So in other words, you need to be selfish. It's not a negative thing to be selfish. Focus on yourself. Take the time to think about these things and then start incorporating. But again, don't be judgmental, because you're already probably overly stressed, overly anxious, and you're just like, oh, just one more thing I can't do. Relax and breathe and be patient with yourself first, and then approach just from the inside out, which is the things that I'm helping you with. All right, so I know you guys are anxious to get started with this yoga. This is where we're going to have our mind-body connection. I want you to think internally of where you are at this moment on this Monday. What is this? The last day in July. Where are you right now? How are you feeling? You know, did you wake up feeling energetic, or did you wake up feeling tired? Did you wake up feeling stressed? Or even if you're watching this in the middle of the day, what are you feeling right now? What's going on inside of you? Do you even know? Or are you so bogged down with what's going on outside of you that you don't even know what's going on inside of you? Okay? Take the time right now to do a little 5-minute practice of the 5-minute routine of yoga that's going to help us get in tune with where we are, and then start working on that. And then we'll continue on immediately after the yoga. We'll do a 5-minute guided meditation designed for relaxation, and then we'll start working more on that mentality, the mind. Start releasing those thoughts, or learning. They're not going to go away, guys, because it's natural. It's healthy to have 50 million thoughts, 70 million thoughts that go through your mind every single day, right? That's just natural. That's being alive. But what you can do is you can all start putting the thoughts that you want to the forefront of all the other thoughts, and not really pay attention to those other ones. And so that's what we're doing with meditations. We're learning how to control those uncontrollable thoughts that continue to inundate us with just things, okay? Just things. So I'm purposely doing my meditations as a guided meditation, because I want you to just focus on relaxation, and just the focus is on your breath and on breathing. And be patient with yourself. I can't say that enough. If I'm repeating something, there's a reason why I'm repeating. I'm being repetitive. I know it's like you're just being repetitive. That's why you're repeating it. But yes, there's a reason to that. It's because it's something that I'm trying to instill upon you and impress upon you, that is important, the importance of it. So in other words, when we're doing the meditation, it's very, very important that you be patient with yourself, because we tend to want to give up if we don't see results right away. And I'm telling you, it's a practice, okay? Meditation and yoga, these are both practices, so you have to be patient with yourself, particularly with meditation, because I can do a 5-minute guided meditation, and then I get feedback and say, well, Pia, during that 5 minutes, I was only able to relax or calm my mind or get rid of those thoughts for 12 seconds. And as I mentioned before, 12 seconds is a wonderful. That was 12 seconds that you didn't have before. Or before you were just going along with thoughts here and there, and that's where your mind was going. But now you got 12 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever it is. You got that time. So in 5 minutes, I don't expect you to have 5 minutes of just mental no thoughts, because you haven't practiced yourself up to that. Once you do that, once you continue to do this practice, there will be times where you actually are able to have, an expanded period of time of no thought, but it takes practice, and more importantly, it takes time and patience, okay? So be patient with yourself, and if you only do 10 seconds, 5 seconds, a minute of that 5 minutes, be happy and celebrate that success, okay? All right, I'm supposed to be putting on the music while I'm talking, right, in this part right here. Okay, so for the yoga, let's see, what does my stage look like? Let's go ahead and get into tabletop, hands and knees, palms directly underneath your shoulders, knees directly underneath your hips. And remember, when we start off with the meditation, I want you to start off by taking a couple deep breaths and just kind of go internal, see where you are, okay? And then I'll lead you through some guided breaths, okay? And while you're going through that internal, your internal focus, I'm going to have us stay still for a bit and just kind of get an intention of what it is that we want to accomplish for this next 5 minutes or this yoga practice, okay? All right, so hands and knees, let's do this. All right, so your fingers and your toes are spread out nice and wide. Your knees are directly underneath your hips. And then just right now, just where you are, just kind of take a couple deep breaths and just go internal to see where you are, how you're feeling. Remember, we're talking about any stress that you feel in any part of your body, any negativity, any tension, any pains. What does your body generally feel like at this moment? All right, go ahead and draw your breath in. And as you exhale, drop your chin down to your chest and round through your spine, tuck your tailbone under. As you inhale, your head and chest comes forward, pressing those armpits down toward the mat. And as you exhale, drop your chin down towards your chest. Tuck the pelvis under. Again, you're still pressing armpits down to the mat, releasing those shoulders. Inhale. Stick your tailbone out toward the back of the room. And exhale. During my yoga morning practice, I just like to go based upon movement and just do what feels comfortable to you. This time, just go ahead and release it back to tabletop. And let's go ahead and just kind of sway your hips side to side. Again, it's about movement and just doing what feels comfortable to you. Just release, relax. I'm going to drop my chin down to my chest, and as I'm moving, I'm also going to rotate my chin toward my shoulders. All right, we're going to turn back to tabletop. I want you to give a couple breaths here and just kind of set the intentions of what it is that you want to accomplish for this next 5 minutes of the yoga practice. Is it that mind-body connection that you want to get in touch with, or do you want to release some type of stress or negativity that's going on in your mind and your body? Go ahead and set your intention. Now go ahead and curl your toes under, and let's take it to downward facing dog. And start to pedal your legs. Now in this downward facing dog, our Savasana, your fingers and toes are spread out nice and wide. Your palms are directly underneath your shoulders, and your knees are directly underneath your hips, unless you've modified your stance to take it to a wide-legged downward facing dog stance, which means your feet are spread out nice and wide. Your hands in alignment with your bicep, and you're pressing your chest toward your thighs and your knees. Propelling our legs, just warming up. Relax those shoulders, guys. Release the stress that you may be carrying in those shoulders. Continue to focus and pushing those shoulders down. Come up on the top of our toes. And then roll down through the balls of your feet all the way down toward the heels as you try to plant those down into the mat. Press your chest toward your thighs and your knees. And pedal some more. Let's do that again. Come up on the top of your toes. And then roll down to the balls of your feet all the way down toward those heels, trying to press them down toward the mat. Lift the kneecap to engage the quadricep. Give it a little deeper stretch on those hamstrings. Navel's towards your spine, belly's tucked in, and you're breathing. Nice, deep ujjayi breath. Come up your toes again. This time we're going to lean over toward the left and we're going to bend the left knee. Nice, deep ujjayi breath here. And then return back to the center and release it down. All right, let's come up on our fingertips and walk our fingertips to our toes and forward fold in Uttanasana. Now I want you to slowly round it up, one vertebrae at a time. Just kind of take your time here, making sure that your head is the last to rise. Let's come to Tadasana, mountain pose. So stretch your toes nice and wide. I want you to ground yourself. Pretend like there's a root from the bottom of your feet going all the way down through the floor to the middle earth. And then it's wrapping itself around something very nice and sturdy so that you're grounded. Shoulders are drawing down the back. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. Then your head's the natural extension of the spine. Now let's go and take a deep breath as we take our hands up overhead. And as we exhale, we're going to guide the body forward to Uttanasana, forward fold. As we inhale, we're going to look up halfway, flatten out the back. And as we exhale, we're going to forward fold, inchworm ourselves out to the plank. And then come back on your fingertips, walk them back to your toes. Inhale, take it all the way up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inchworm out to the plank. And then come up on the fingertips. Way back to your toes. Inhale, take it all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Look up halfway. Uttanasana, inchworm to plank and hold the plank. Deep breath in and exhale. Another deep breath. This time as you exhale, release your knee, chest, chin, or Chaturanga Dandasana. And then inhale to upward facing dog. And then curl those toes under. And exhale to downward facing dog and start the pedal. All right, let's come up on our toes. Roll down to the balls of your feet all the way down toward the heels. As you try to press those heels down into the mat. Pressing your chest towards your thighs and your knees. Let's do that again. Come up on the top of your toes. And then roll down through the balls of your feet all the way down toward those heels. One more time, come up on the top of your toes. This time we're going to lean over toward the right and bend that right knee. Nice deep ujjayi breath. And then go ahead and return and release it all the way down. Now we're going to come up with our fingertips. We're going to walk it back to our toes. Then we're going to hold the Uttanasana right here just for a moment. And as you inhale, just kind of hold your position. And as you exhale, just kind of release and relax. Surrender into the pose. So I'm going to let my hands just kind of fall here. So I want the focus to more so be on hinging from my hip. Letting the crown of my head bring my body weight naturally forward. And my chest is going toward my thighs and my knees. Now my knees are fairly straight, but there is a micro bend in the knees. If you need to, because of the inflexibility of your hamstrings, feel free to bend your knees, okay? I don't want you to rest your chest and thighs. I want you to uplift yourself. And as you breathe in, exhale, just kind of release, relax, just surrender a little bit more. All right, let's go ahead and inhale up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, take it all the way up. Exhale, drive the body forward. Inchworm out to the plank. Exhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to the plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to the plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Do that 2 more times. Inhale to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. And hold. On the next exhalation, knee, chest, chin, or chaturanga dandasana. Inhale to upward facing dog. Relax those shoulders. And then curl those toes under. Exhale to downward facing dog. Now release the knees down toward the mat. And extend the legs straight up. Again, draw your knees down toward the mat. And then extend the legs. One more time, draw the knee in and extend the leg. All right, so this time we're going to walk our feet in toward our palms. And then slowly round it up 1 vertebrae at a time, making sure that your head is the last to rise. All right, mountain pose. Tadasana. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, look up halfway. Flatten out the palms, step back, right, left into the plank. Release your knee, chest, chin. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step forward, right, left. Inhale, take it all the way up. Arch back for me. Exhale, dive the body forward. Look up halfway. Flatten out the palms, step back, left, right into the plank. Release your knee, chest, chin, or chaturanga dandasana. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Now bring that left foot forward towards your fingertips. Turn that right foot in perpendicular, and let's take it up to warrior. Warrior 2. Relax the shoulders, press the hips down toward the mat, and extend the arms. Inhale, take it back. Exhale. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale. Inhale. This time as you exhale, straighten out that front leg. Lean all the way forward. And take it to Vrksasana, triangle pose. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Take your time. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Hold here. Pyramid. Flatten out the palms. Bend that left knee. Take it back. Release knee, chest, chin, or chaturanga dandasana. Inhale to upward facing dog. Curl the toes under. Exhale. Downward facing dog. Now remember, downward facing dog, resting position. You can go to tabletop or in child's pose. We're not going to be here long because we're generating heat here. So once you stay in your downward facing dog, and this time I want you to bring your right foot forward towards the fingertips. Turn that left foot in perpendicular. Heel of the right foot just bisecting the arch of the left. Take it up to warrior. Inhale, reverse. Exhale. Press those hips down toward the mat. Nice long extension. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. This time as you exhale, straighten out that right leg and bring the body all the way forward. And exhale. Triangle pose. Trikonasana. Inhale here. Exhale to pyramid. Inhale. Take your time, guys. You may be wavering, that's okay. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Time we're going to flatten out the palms. Bend that right knee. Take it back to a plank. Release your knee, chest, and chin, or chaturanga dandasana. Inhale to upward facing dog. Relax those shoulders. Exhale, downward facing dog. Walk your feet in toward the palms. Slowly round it up, one vertebrae at a time. As always, head is the last to rise. Tadasana. Deep breath, inhaling. Exhale, guide the body forward. Press your palms down flat on the mat, and then walk your feet out toward the edges of the mat. And as you exhale, release your tailbone down toward the mat, using your elbows to push out on those inner thighs. Bring the palms together at the heart center. Bow your head down, Mulasana. And at this time, I want you to give gratitude for your practice. Take a little time to set intentions for the next part. And then release the palms down. Now I want you to slowly transition your body weight to a nice comfortable seated position facing forward. Making sure that you're on your sits bones and off the fleshy part of your bottom. That may require you to make some adjustments. Alright, sit up nice and tall, shoulders are drawn back, head's natural extension of the spine, fingertips are slightly touching the mat. As we inhale, we're going to take the arms up overhead. And as we exhale, release the fingertips down toward the mat. Nice deep breath, inhaling. And exhaling. One more time, nice deep breath, inhaling. This time we're going to breathe the palms together at the very top. Exhale down through the center. And namaste. All right, so this brings us to our last portion of the transformation for today. And we're going to get into a relaxated state and do some meditation. It's a 5-minute guided meditation. If you're just joining us, get comfortable. And if you just want to do this practice in the chair, go ahead and grab your chair. Just make sure that your shoes are off and your feet are planted firmly against the floor. If you're sitting up nice and tall, you're not slouched back in the chair, leaning on the back or toward the edge of your seat. Take a nice deep breath, and as you exhale, just kind of release your chin down towards your chest. And just for a moment, as you're breathing regularly, again, assess where you are at this moment in time. All right, on the next breath, I want you to inhale and lift up your chin all the way up toward the sky. Forehead goes up. And as you exhale, release your chin down toward your chest. Again, as you inhale, your head and chest lift up. And as you exhale, release your chin down toward your chest. One more time, draw the breath in. Forehead goes up toward the sky. And this time as you exhale, bring your chin forward. Head is natural extension of the spine. Your eyes are still closed. And just give me a couple deep breaths. As we start to relax the body, I want to remind you to be patient with yourself and to be kind, non-judgmental, and to focus on your breath. Inhaling deeply through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. Now I want you to draw your attention towards your feet, and I want you to squish up your toes really, really tight on your next inhale. And as you exhale, release and relax the tension, the stress of your feet, and wiggle your toes. Now as you inhale, I want you to draw your attention toward the ankles. And as you exhale, I want you to relax your ankles. Now your calf muscles, go ahead and squeeze those muscles on the inhale. And as you exhale, relax. On your next breath, draw your attention to those kneecaps. And as you exhale, release and relax any tension and stress that you may be carrying. Now your thigh muscles. And exhale. Your buttocks. And exhale. And now your pelvic area. Remember, if there's any thoughts that are going around in your brain, just gently push them aside and just continue to focus on your breath and relaxing your body. Nice deep breath, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. Continue the rhythm of breathing. Now, your next breath, I want you to draw your attention towards your back. And as you exhale, release any tension or stress that you may be carrying. Now your shoulders, I want you to hunch your shoulders up towards your ears as you inhale. And as you exhale, release relax any stress, tension that you're carrying on the shoulders. Now your neck and your jaw. And relax. I want to draw your attention to all the muscles in your face. And relax. Remember, any tension or stress, any thoughts, relax them as you exhale. Now draw your attention to your forehead. And exhale. Let's go back to our shoulders. Again, as you inhale, hunch up those shoulders. And as you exhale, I want you to release and relax any remaining tension that you may be carrying in your body. Without any tension to those thoughts, I want you just to relax for the next couple breaths. You're doing good. Just stay in this relaxated mode and breathe. All right, take a nice deep breath, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. Again, nice deep breath, inhaling, drawing in through your nose and exhale. One more time, nice deep breath, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. Now go ahead and open up your eyes as you release, relax, return, refreshed, and calm. You've done something good for yourself today. I want to thank you for taking the time to meditate with me, and also thank you for taking out the time for your day to listen to this live broadcast and transform your life in 15 minutes. Your word for today is insightful. Okay, so I want you to have an insightful day. I will see you back in Cali tomorrow at the same time. Bye.